What's going on YouTube? Welcome to episode 89 of the U.S.S. Enterprise D tutorial. I'm Zero Elite and I just want to thank you very much for tuning in today's episode. And if you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button helping me and supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. Today we've got about a 16-minute episode. We're going to be taking a slight break from the bridge. We're going to be working on our primary shuttle bay today. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And of course, don't forget to join my Discord channel. I'll have a link in the description below. Discord channel is going to be a great place to meet new people within the community. You can also post your builds, and if you're having trouble with your build, you can always post pictures. So this way, myself and other people in the community can help you. Just bear in mind the Discord is still relatively new, so I'm still working on building up the community. So I definitely love to see you there. But anyway, we've going to just go ahead and jump right into this today. So we've got some room to work with here, but on the left and right side, in the back section of our primary shuttle bay, we're going to be going one down with the cut line and bringing this going almost all the way out. You can see right up until that 2x2 block there. We're going to be bringing that right up to that, because what we're going to be doing is basically essentially taking down this whole wall to open up this area. Because I was just not necessarily looking at pictures of the primary shuttle bay itself. This was just something that I thought, should be on the ship. And I could be wrong. The primary shuttle bay may, in fact, have them, but docking bays for the shuttlecraft. I thought that this was something that should be definitely on the ship. And those of you that worked on the Cerritos with me will remember that that's one of the reasons why I built the docking ports on the Cerritos, because I wanted to have um, that reference material to go off of. So this way, when I built the Enterprise D, I had something to reference. And the Cerritos was helpful in that regard, because um, pretty much all of it I wasn't able to transition over into the Enterprise D, but it got me used to learning how to do stuff like that for the Enterprise D, if that makes sense. So if you're just watching along with this tutorial series, but you don't feel like you can do this build, try something a little bit smaller. Work on the mock tutorial of the Enterprise D. Try the Disco Era Enterprise, but try the Cerritos, because the Cerritos, even though it's a different animal, it's a similar enough design to the Enterprise D that it will prep you to build the ship. That was one of my main reasons for building the Cerritos, on top of the fact that I had a lot of people asking me for it, was that I really wanted to get some type of experience under my belt on building next generation era ships before I started the daunting task of building the Enterprise D itself, because I knew when I started this build, and before I started it, that this was going to be a long process to get this ship done if I wanted to do it right. And that's exactly what my goal's been. From the start of this tutorial series, I really have made a point that I want to really do this ship justice to the best of my ability, and the main thing to do that was building it in a large scale. So we're looking pretty good. We're looking pretty good right now. So we've taken down the walls on the left and right side here. Now we need to free up some space here in the roof, because we don't have enough room to work with what we currently have right now, to where we can actually build shuttle bays going in there. Before we get too far ahead, we're going to do the same thing on the other side now. Because I'm telling you, this rule works. If you do one thing on one side, do it on the other side, especially when you're working on something this scale. It can become very, very easy to make a few mistakes, even if you feel like you're paying attention. All right, so basically what we're going to do now, everything going along this line here, one down from the cut line, we're going to be bringing this straight back to the wall. Want to make sure that you're not deleting any of the blocks in the back wall. You want to make sure that that outline remains intact. this is definitely going to free up some space here, and it's going to make the shuttle bay itself look a lot bigger than it was just a few minutes ago. Because that's one of the other things I really wanted to accomplish with this build as well, especially since I have all this room to work with, is that I wanted it to feel that when you're walking around on this ship, it feels like you're on a Galaxy class starship. It feels like you're on a very large starship. I really wanted to try to stay away from having smaller areas on the ship unless it absolutely deemed it necessary, like in one case, the engineering. Um, Engineering, the main area that you see on the show, is a relatively small area, but the fact of the matter is that on a Galaxy class ship, engineering is several decks. We just only happen to see one of them because of budget constraints. That's all that they had money to do. Um, but we can definitely use our imagination to try to fill in some of those areas and maybe try to find some concept art to inspire us a little bit to flesh some of that stuff out. The shuttle bay was one of these areas, the primary one, because it was something that we never saw on the show. They only ever showed, I think it was either the secondary or tertiary shuttle bay was the only one that ever actually appeared on the show. Um, but there's people that have fleshed that thing out. I don't know whether it was based off of concept art design or just what people or what the writers and producers had intended to do, but they never had a chance to show. But if you go on YouTube and search USS Enterprise D tutorial, Unreal, or excuse me, USS Enterprise D tour in Unreal Engine, it should be the first or second link that comes up, and the primary shuttle bay is the first thing that you see, and it'll give you much more of an idea of what we're working on here. And it's crazy because even the scale that we have our ship built in, my primary shuttle bay is probably only a fraction of the size of the shuttle bay on a real Galaxy class ship. We just didn't have enough room to do it because we are building this thing down at a slight smaller scale, so we have less room to work with. Um, but yeah, like if you look at that tour, that area of the ship is absolutely massive. It feels like you're walking through a super mall when you're going through it. But this area, like this is honestly going to end up being one of my favorite areas on the ship, because I was actually just really happy with how it came out, because I was able to do pretty much everything that I wanted to do while I was working on this area of the ship, with an exception of having a mock turbo lift going, or mock turbo lift for cargo going up through multiple decks. That's the only thing I wasn't able to do. Other than that, everything else I was able to do no problem at all. All right, so now we banged out the right side. We're going to do the same thing on the left side, but rather than going through all that in real time, I probably should have just edited this out. But I'm actually just going to go ahead and fast forward through some of that, so this way we don't have to go through that again. So I don't think it'll quite end up being 16-minute episode today. I think it'll probably end up being like 12 or 13 by the time I'm done with it. All right, so now that we have our base shape to work with, we can start trimming it down and um, adding details to it to make it all go together. Yeah, this corner here on each side, we're going to get rid of that, and we're doing that because of the cut line, because I'm getting ready to outline the ceiling in half slabs. Looking pretty good. We're gonna get rid of that last block there. Yeah, that just, I don't know, I looked out of place, and this is where we stop and take a look at things. If something's looking out of place, then it is, so then we need to make a change to it. These are our corridors underneath. Now, at one point, I was actually going to have these as being turbo lift shafts, um, but I decided, what we ended up doing with the center area of the ship, where the bridge is. I just decided that would be the easiest thing to do. Just have the primary one going up through the middle. All right, we got one more row to do. Looking fantastic so far. I love it. Definitely frees up a lot more space, and this is just going to be one more area of the ship that you come in. It's going to have that wow factor. I'm really looking forward to when this thing is done, so I can actually do a tour of it. Because I'm hoping that I'll be able to get a lot of views off of that tour episode, and not only that, but the tutorial itself. Because I mean, the Enterprise D, I'm not gonna lie, this was not an easy ship to build. This took me a while to get it right, and it's something that I'm still even working on it right now. However length of time it takes, that's what it takes. Now, I will say this: that if it gets to a point that like we're if we come up on a or getting close to, or it looks like I'm going to be going into March or April, that I'm still working on this, what I might end up doing at that point is I might take a hiatus on the Enterprise D to do Voyager, and then I'll probably swing back to the Enterprise D after that. But we'll see. It depends on how far we get. But I know that I don't want to go too far out and just have content on the Enterprise D and not do some other stuff too. Because I mean, this is somewhat of a learning process for me as I'm going with the channel. I'm learning the best way to do these tutorials, especially like in this case where I'm dealing with an episode or episode series that ends up being a lot longer than some of my other ones. But we'll play that by ear. Right now, don't plan on me taking any breaks from the Enterprise D, but that could end up being a thing if this ends up going out for an extended period of time. We'll see. We're just cleaning up the back wall here, going with our cut line to make everything match up, make it look a little bit prettier. That looks pretty good. Definitely happy with how this area of the ship is turning out. I think all things considered, it's looking really good. But I do think that's going to wrap us up today and for this week. I hope everybody enjoyed today's content. And if you did, please help me out. Hit that like and subscribe button, help me supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that, especially as we're on our way to hit 1,000 subscribers. Don't forget, we've got the Enterprise A 2016 Star Trek Beyond tutorial coming out once we hit 1,000. And new subscribers, don't forget to hit notifications on so you get notified when those new videos drop. And speaking of new videos, you can always catch my new Minecraft episodes dropping on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And of course, be sure to check out my Discord channel. I'll have a link in the description below. But I just want to thank everybody again for tuning in today's episode. I hope everybody has a happy and safe week. And I'll catch you next week. And of course, what did you make in Minecraft today? Let me know in the comments section.